Welcome to Book Lounge by Libby. My name is Joe, and I'm so happy you're here. Friends, today brings us to the end of season 3, and I hope you've had as much fun as I've had. We're wrapping up this week with steamy romance reads for the summer. Now, if you're new here, consider subscribing and definitely check out this past Monday's episode, which was some incredible conversation with amazing romance authors. Now, before we dive into today's recs, just a heads up, we'll be moving into our off-season 3 episodes per month schedule for July and August, and season 4 will begin at the end of September. All right, enough housekeeping. That's all out of the way. Time to get into books. Joining me today is an amazing creator. She's a 10-year bookseller. She's a book club maven and collector, and she's a romance novel matchmaker. Destinee, welcome to Book Lounge. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. You say romance, I'm there.
And I love it. And this is my season of unhinged emails, and you are one of them. So thank you for replying when I said, please come on the show and talk to me about romance.
Honestly, my pleasure. Some people, it's ice cream or candy. No, for me, it's let's talk romance. I'm kidnapped. It's done.
But I love that. I am slowly discovering, I've been doing some version of this podcast since 2022, and the show's existed for forever. But I have been slowly discovering what my niches are, what my genres are, what my faves are. And I still don't know if I'm fully in the, you tell me this, I'm there. But I have a lot that, you tell me this and my ears are raised. I'm like, what was it? Let's get into it. Okay. But Destinee, I would love to know, you call yourself a romance novel matchmaker who recommends beyond the viral reads. What got you into romance and sharing reads with folks?
So, romance is definitely a part of my reader DNA. I tell
Yeah.
the story, I've told it before, but I'm originally from the Virgin Islands, the British Virgin Islands, and my dad ran a charter company, and people would bring novels on their trips home and put them in the lending library. So, being the precocious reader I was, I started picking up novels. And it wasn't just romance, it was a variety. Dean Koontz in there, really random collection. But
But
definitely some
those tourists we're
historical.
leaving behind.
Y-
Yeah.
Yup. What else do you read on a yacht, right? Like
Thank
a
you.
historical romance novel where you're swept away. So I started reading pretty young, and the rest is history. So as I said, it's in my DNA. And for me, I think especially after the 2020 TikTok sort of
Mhm.
boom and influx, I saw all these people very into romance. And I'm like, but this is not even scratching the surface. What is going on here?
I love that because there is such an interesting, there are 2 big shifts that I noticed with that. That yes, the boom brought readers in, and we at Libby, we've seen it across the board. Checkouts are up, 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 which we love. That's what we want. Every digital checkout supports your library. It all counts. So, please borrow books. But the other part of that is people were reading, and they were reading in a massive way. And not only was it a way to save money, it was also a way to have community, because it was so easy to have a book club when we weren't allowed to go anywhere. But that reading has continued. And I think what also translated was that people were unabashedly talking about what they were reading. And so romance, I know it's still got to be hard out there for a romance lover, but it started to get the respect it deserved. Maybe not full stop, there's still definitely progress to go. But I think the romance slander
Mhm.
started to walk back a little bit. And now it was just I love seeing people out in the streets that have the ask me about my smut book, shirts on. And I'm here for it.
Yeah, it definitely is where that romance has always been a $1 billion, $1 million industry. But the way, as you said, that people talk about it, I do feel like it's different. And it's, at a very basics level, you're outnumbered now. You gotta let the
Exactly.
romance girlies do their thing. You're outnumbered.
You gotta let them, because not only are we outnumbered now, we've always been outnumbered. But now
Always been
now
outnumbered.
y'all aren't afraid to say,
Yeah, yeah.
hey, we're here. Shut up and let me talk about my book to you.
And social media definitely helps with that because having
Right.
been somebody who was sort of you had to find communities in different ways. And so I think now with social media, you get to see the numbers. And I think that that adds to people's confidence. You don't feel alone in what you're reading. You knew you weren't alone, but connecting was different in the past.
Right. And it didn't have that stigma or that fear or, I mean, like, which seems so dramatic, but people are always hard on people for what they like and what they read and what they do. And I think romance has for the longest time been the pivotal example of that. Like you made fun of the like Fabio bodice ripper cover at the grocery store, all of that kind of stuff. So it's nice to see not even just that the tide is changing, but also that the girlies are going, and what? This is what I'm reading. So
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah,
But I also love your point of the recommendations don't even scratch the surface.
yeah,
Like what you tend to see online, like, yeah, either they're the popular ones or they fall into kind of like the top tier niches.
yeah.
And I love the hunt through the backlist. I love the I'm not afraid to dig into like a who knew I wanted to try a paranormal romance today? So there's like a little bit of everything, and it's more exciting to see the unafraid to not just say, "Here's Carly Fortune's new book."
Exactly, exactly. And I mean, to your point about stigmas, obviously, it's even exacerbated when the main clientele is women, right? And it's always been that way. And so I think, yeah, here we are now. And now that we have all of you here, let's talk about some other ones that you might not know about. And that's why I consider myself a romance novel matchmaker, because as a bookseller in general, you get those skills. But then also, there's just something to have been in this community for this amount of time that
Mhm.
I just know certain things, and I hope to
Yeah.
be able to pass that on.
Ooh, I love it. Now the romance genre, I've got to ask, what are some of your favorite tropes or your go-tos?
I am truly an omnivorous romance reader. Really, if it's a good
Love it.
story, I am there. I really do love, though, enemies to lovers. And it's
Okay.
because I feel like if you can take two people who are diametrically opposed, they, in some cases, actually loathe each other. And not only as an author bring them together, but convince me as the reader that it's essential that they be together. That is incredible. That is masterwork.
The true talent. Yes.
I
If you
love
can
that.
make me believe they hate each other and then make me believe that they now love each other and I'm happy about that. Yeah.
Yes,
Skill.
I want to be on that journey so badly. So
Yeah.
I love that. I also love, it's not
Yeah.
really a trope, but epistolary novels, because to me, there's just something so beautiful about writing notes or letters or things like that that seem private, but then it's shared with the person you love in some way, or shows them a facet of yourself that otherwise wouldn't be shown. I love that in a novel.
It's a different type of intimacy. I mean, I think there is something incredibly intimate about the written word, but also the handwritten word. Like you're getting this letter, or even if they try to modernize it and it's like, here's a string of texts or a string of emails, it's still like you have to put that energy forth to sit down and go, my partner, my love, I share this with you.
Oh,
And yeah, I mean, oh,
yes. Yeah, just those words. I'm like, I'm a sucker for it.
I even got myself with it. I'm like, wait, I need an epistolary novel. Stat.
Stat, stat. Oh man, not in my rec today.
Right.
Ah.
Now, well, actually, I do have to ask. I love that you're an omnivore when it comes to your romance because I love to hear people tell me about their tropes, but to me they mean nothing because I'm with you. I'm like, if the story does it for me, the story does it for me.
Yes.
But are there any that you're immediately like, I can't get into all that?
For the longest time, I was not a secret baby person. For the longest time, I'm like, keep your kids. I just, I don't really want that. But
Yeah.
and I also thought it was kind
Is
of,
Secret Baby like gave the baby away and they find it later or didn't know they had the baby, like
that's
leaves
typically
town and comes back like 15 years later and it's like, is that my son?
That's typically more the angle.
Got it.
That's typically more the
Okay.
angle,
Okay.
and I mean, there are exceptions to every rule.
Sure.
You know,
This is just my novice
yeah,
knowledge. So,
no, but yeah, there are exceptions to every rule in terms of ones that I liked. But in
yeah.
general, I felt like this doesn't feel realistic to me sometimes. So that's typically the one that I'm kind of like, eh. But there have been some that have proven me wrong. And so again, that's why I'm like, I can never count it out completely.
No, and I'm with you on that because I feel like that they love to do that in a TV show, like a drama TV
Yes.
show. They love to do it in a movie. And every time I'm always like, okay.
Eh,
Like,
you know,
whatever.
like,
We all make choices, but I don't buy it.
right.
Okay.
Like, I'm not here to yuck your yum, but also I'll pass, you
But
know?
right. Right.
But
Also,
again,
like
some
if
people do
you're
it really well.
yeah, and we respect the craft. Like that at the end of the day, if you're doing well, we're here for it.
We'll try it.
Now, you are a bookseller at East City Bookshop.
Yes.
What are some of your favorite questions to be asked about books when people are shopping?
Okay, if I'm to be a little snarky, it always makes me laugh when someone comes in and they're like, I don't remember really anything about this book, but it was blue. It's honestly, some people get annoyed by that, but it's so funny to me. It's truly like deeply humorous.
Um,
Um, because then, honestly, I take it as a challenge and we just work through. I remember one time someone came in and they were like, the book, I don't remember. It's really popular. It was really popular. It's like, I think it's like orange and there's rowing. And
the people you meet on vacation.
I'm like, orange and I'm like, rowing. So I start
Orange and
asking all these
rowing.
questions. It was Barney Garmis's lessons in chemistry because somebody in there said,
Wow.
I know. So
Of all the things on the lessons in chemistry cover, like my brain at least went to, okay, well, oh no, I was thinking of beach reads from
yes,
Emily Henry.
yes,
Like,
yes.
at least that my brain is like, well, there's water. So maybe they were thinking rowing, but it's just
No,
water
that's like
and
a
it's
reference
orange.
in the book, in the Bonnie
Oh,
Garmis book. So I'm like,
wow.
how?
That's nuts.
Yeah. So I just take it as a challenge. So that's like the funny side of it. Like,
I love that.
yeah, it really challenges, what you know as a bookseller, and it encourages me to really be up on the zeitgeist and know what's happening. But I guess in a more serious way, I love when someone
Mhm.
asks me, well, A is truly open to recommendation and a hand sell, as
Yeah.
opposed to like so narrowly knowing what they want that they're not open to anything. So I love when they ask for a recommendation and I love when they ask what books have
Yeah.
been impactful to me because then I can,
Mhm.
tell them a story. I can really bring the emotional impact into it. And it almost always convinces someone to get a book.
Oh, I love that. I'm with you. Like, if I am to walk into my local indie, small bookstore, I am either on a mission and I know exactly what I've gone to pick up, and this is just we're here because this new book came out, and I would like to put my dollars where they matter, or I'm going in to browse. And if I'm walking up to someone and asking for help, like if I'm on a mission, I'm not going to bother you because someone else needs your help. I'm like, I will find where this book lives. I promise I can do it. But when I'm looking for a book, that's when I will do the like, I will tell you what I like and what I don't like, but give me your best shot. And I think that's what we crave. It is also a moment of connection, and it's a really cool experience to get to share with someone.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And to me, it's what distinguishes going into a library or going into an indie bookstore versus all
Yes.
the other ways that you could just very in a sterile manner acquire a book.
Right.
It's that human connection.
Exactly. Right. Human connection. And it's the same thing of like, when I say to people, like, comment on the Spotify, comment on the YouTube, like, tell me what you want to see or what you love or like your recommendations, because I would love to put out like a random one off video where I go, hey, you all asked for recommendations. So
Yes.
here's what I've got based on your thing. Comment on the screen now. Like, so,
Yes.
so I think that like there are plenty of places where we can have community and connection. and libraries, bookstores, even random book podcasts can be those places.
Absolutely. Book clubs, love a book club.
Love
Yeah.
a book club.
Yeah, I think that
Well,
that's just the beautiful thing about books, and I'm happy to be here.
I'm so glad to have you here. Should we dive into our recommendations?
Yes, even though this is, like, so hard for me, Joe.
I know. I know I make people kind of kill their darlings when they come on the show because I'll be like, look, we've got about 60 minutes together. We can only get through like 5 to 7 books. Good luck.
Joe, the stress I feel, like, how can I not
I know.
mention it's just like, you know what? Just go for it.
Well, I can always give you a like rapid fire minute, moment at the end to just shout out some faves.
Yes. Oh
Yes.
my
Okay.
gosh. Help me.
So you start thinking on that. Do you want me to go first or do you want to give me your first title?
I can go first.
Great. Go for it.
So, the first book I have, I recently talked about on the internet, and it's because
Yeah.
it's a backlist book, and it came out all the way in 2012. I know,
Love.
like, a long time ago, but I recently was recommended this book actually by a book club friend, and this book is Maya Banks's Never Seduce a Scot. And, I mean, honestly, love it
Those
here.
are I miss those like hot
Miss,
take, I miss those covers.
bring them
I
back.
I like the like cartoony drawn animated covers. They're cute. They like look nice in a bookshelf photo, but I miss that.
The
Give me
passion.
that.
Tell me what's happening here.
Right.
Yes. I also love a little cute little mass marquee, like, ooh,
Right.
yes,
Oh,
yes. But
adorable.
I loved this book so much. How much do you want to hear about it, Joe?
Oh, give me a description. Give me
Yeah.
like a cute rundown.
Okay, so in this book, we have two clans in the Scottish Highlands. So it's medieval. That's the other thing. Love, love, love that. But yeah, there have been a feuding, blood feud. They're never going to get along. Like, it's just never going to happen. The
Mhm.
king is like, listen, this feud is not working for me. So I need you guys to figure it out. And I'm going to tell you what you're going to do. And the laird of one clan, you have to marry the daughter of the other laird. This is what's happening. So they
Okay.
are up in arms. They're in a tizzy. Okay. But the other clan kind of has another reason for being in a tizzy. And it's because the daughter, they believe her to be daft. A few years ago, she had a horsing accident. She fell off, but it turns out that she's actually deaf since the accident, and nobody knows. I know. So the
Wow.
day comes, they're supposed to get married. The other clan comes, like everybody's like, oh my gosh, we can't have these people at the house. They come, and she's brought in by her brother, but before she gets there, for the first time in years, she hears something. Or maybe it's not here, maybe that's the wrong word, but she senses something in a way that she hadn't. And it turns out the timbre of Graham is his name's voice is something that resonates with her. Come on, Joe. Come on. I know.
Oh,
I know.
she can only hear
Yes.
him.
Oh,
That's incredible.
beautiful. Beautiful.
Now, if you were to give it like a pepper scale.
Probably two.
Okay,
Probably
okay,
two.
good.
Probably two. Yeah.
I love that.
I mean, I'm going to also admit that mortals should probably add a pepper on anything I say because
Fair,
because sometimes my
fair.
sensibilities are skewed. I'm like, yeah, that's a one pepper, and people are like, no, no, that's not.
No, that was at least a two and
That
a
was
half.
at least
Yeah.
2.5. What are you doing?
See, and I have the same struggle when people ask me like, would this be okay for a whatever-year-old? Or was this gory? Because I read a lot of horror. Or was this? I'm like, I've been reading books out of my age range since I was about 8. I couldn't tell
I
you.
couldn't tell you. I told you I was like 9 reading these. I don't know.
I couldn't tell you if I wanted to. So I snooped around the internet on some of my picks to be like, what does the internet say
Okay.
these are? So we have a wide variety of spice, and I will be bringing unhinged picks.
I love
My
it.
first one, though, I think kind of meets where you're at. This one, At the time y'all are listening to this, it will be coming out in July. So this will be coming out July 14th from Rachel Lynn Solomon. This is
Oh,
extracurricular.
extracurricular.
Uh-huh. The cover got me. It's like really cutesy. And I don't do a lot of straight things, but this one I was like, okay, let's see.
We'll
So,
do the straights. They're fine.
well, I'll give it to the straights today. I can't only give gay books. I gotta have one for like my girlies who are like, yay, thank you, Joe.
Yay, Joe.
But we've got a former pop star who enrolls in college, and the last thing she expects is A+ chemistry with her psychology professor in a sexy and tender romance from the #1 New York Times bestseller author, Rachel Lynn Solomon. So Ramona Wilder has spent her whole life in the spotlight. After a hit kids TV show, she transitioned into music, singing in arenas around the world, and becoming an icon for millions of teenage girls. Now at age 26, exhausted by the inhumane lack of privacy, she's done with all of it. She wants a chance at normal, whatever that might mean for her. And she's starting with college. So she meets Professor Nick Navarro, recently divorced, optimistic, allowing himself a very reasonable 10 minutes per day to wallow, when his department calls a meeting about a celebrity enrollment. He plans to treat whoever it is like any other student, except when Ramona blazes into class and causes an uproar. The typically easygoing professor is rattled, maybe for the first time in his career. Ramona loves the way she flusters him, taking every opportunity to push Nick's buttons, though what she really wants is to unbutton them completely. When a crisis brings them closer outside of class, they begin a tentative friendship amid an undeniable attraction, but Ramona can't be so easily finished with her old life, and they'll both have to confront their pasts if they want a chance at something real. Again, that's extracurricular, Rachel Lynn Solomon. This one will be out in July 14th. Sorry for when y'all have to wait for, but I think in this episode alone, we've got plenty that you'll either be able to borrow right away in Libby or have short wait lists on. It just sounds really cute to me. It is open door. It's got some spice. I'd say like not really knowing the scale too well and thinking of like you said, Destinee, add a pepper to whatever I say. I think for me, it's like, it might just be skewed because what any of this means to me. The internet consensus was that this was like a 3 on the scale just because it was open door. I think it's probably a little more tame than that at like a 2.5. Like it's
Sure.
there, it's happening, but what is 3 really?
So I actually read extracurricular. And so
Yeah.
I kind of agree with that. I mean, now I again always add a pepper. Always add a pepper, but I feel like a 2, 3 maybe.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, then I feel good about that. I'm like 2, 3.
Yeah.
Like I was going through and I was like, this is delightful. And
Yes.
to me, it felt real. And so to me, I was like, would I put a like 3 or higher on something that to me just feels like normal people can experience this? Probably not.
That's the thing. That's the thing. It's like people
I
watch
struggle.
movies that have love scenes in
Right,
them,
that
and
have
it's
sex,
like,
that
yeah,
have
sex scenes.
spice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh my gosh, reading it, I just can't. I'm like, okay, I guess, and that's anyone's choice. But yeah, so I don't. For me, it's kind of hard sometimes, but I feel like you did great with that one. You did great with that
Thank you. Thank you.
one. So I am going to jump in and give you the spiciest recommendation that I have today.
Yes.
I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna.
Go for it.
I
Rip
have
off the
literally
Band-Aid.
like a stack of books over here, no order, just vibes.
That's my life. No order, just
Just
vibes.
vibes.
The most organized you'll get out of me is like the email that says, we're recording this date, this time.
Honestly, leading with that, I would never know. So I'm glad we
Well,
align on our chaos. This book is an Omegaverse book. Have you?
oh, I have learned when my dear friend Emma talked to Allie Hazelwood about
Yes.
May.
Yes.
May? No, maybe the first. Was that the first one or is that the second one?
That's the second one, mate. Yep.
Okay. She talked to her for the first one and we learned together about the Omegaverse.
Right? Okay.
Oh boy.
Okay. Well,
Thank you, internet.
yeah. So yeah, that's actually a great reference point for this book. If someone is like Oh, I haven't really read I don't know what Omega okay, you've read that, so you kind of get a sense, except for this book, High Seas Heat by Sarah Blue, you're adding more people
Okay.
to the picture.
Love.
So the thing about,
Love.
Omegaverse in a lot of instances is that, there's a pack structure. And I think that that's what one thing that differs with people's experiences if they only ever read Bride or Mate by Ali Hazelwood. So you
Mhm.
get some elements of the Omegaverse, but not the pack structure of it.
Yes.
So I will trust people to do their internet searches and get even more information about Omegaverse. But about this book is by an indie author. Her name is Sarah Blue. And so the premise here is that our heroine is someone who is very wealthy, like, her family's very wealthy. She could kinda live a life of leisure if she wants, but it has not that life of leisure has not enabled her to find love, and she really wants a pack. Like, she wants to have her alpha and the other members of her pack, and the other element here is that, the one guy in her life that she's really always loved, he's also an alpha. His name is Elliot, and he has never reciprocated. So she's kinda like, "You know what?
Oh.
I'm done here. I am gonna
Eh,
go on this thing that I just heard about called the High Seas Heat cruise." Like, it's a cruise. Um,
love.
and I mean, cruises, they get an interesting rep right now, but if you could
Yeah.
just go on there and find your pack, that might be great. So she goes on this cruise, immediately kinda hits it off with this, alpha beta, couple, and, it's like, "Wow, things are going well." And then all of a sudden, Elliot pops up on this cruise as well. I know, I know. So, and things progress. She's conflicted.
Ooh.
The alphas are not liking each other at all because the alpha she just met is like, this is mine. Who are even you? And Elliot's like, but I've known her all her life. It's a hot mess. And anybody who knows me knows I am a mess apologist. So uh, you know what? For the mere mortal, this is gonna be a 5 5 chili pepper. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of things happening.
Omegaverse dynamics.
Yes,
Once we get into that,
yes.
where it is mess city. I think that thing that helped me understand Omegaverse dynamics without like necessarily reading the romance element of it was the Green Creek series by TJ Klune, because
Ah,
that gave me whole pack structure.
yeah,
But
that's such a good
yeah,
point. You're
I mean, and of
helping
course,
me.
there's plenty of romance in there, but it's the more like sweet sweeping. The goal isn't the kind of like Omegaverse goal with romance. It's more like pack family love kind of thing.
That's such a great, as a romance novel matchmaker, that's a great way of, like, putting things together for people.
Uh huh.
Yeah, because yeah, that I see that.
Right. Because that would be like again, like when you get to the romance content or even like the spice level in there, you're talking like two and a half.
Yes.
But
Yes.
you could still consider it a romance series, and I think if you
Yeah,
align that and if that's someone's entry point, yeah, might be a great one.
great idea.
My well, thank you. Maybe I've got some of this romance
I
stuff
feel
after all.
like yeah, I like it, and I feel like we make a great team, Joe.
I think so too, and I see your 5 peppers, and I give you my 5 peppers. Uh, this is the Goliaths of Wrestling
Oh.
series. By Lily Mayne. I'm going to talk about book 4 specifically. It's called False Combat. But
Okay.
after rereading all of Heated Rivalry, because I was there before there was even a whisper of a show, because
Ooh.
I was like, I need to try reading romance, and someone said, "Here's gay hockey." I went, sold. So so like I have been in these streets ready for the hockey boys to kiss. So just
You
just putting my like one and only credential out there, like Rachel Reed, I see you. Game recognizes game.
he's like,
But
here's my card."
I promise I'm allowed. But after rereading all of Heated Rivalry, I went looking for some other sports romance. And what a wild way for me to end up in sports romance. Uh, like, boy, what a time. It's monster romance set in an underground supernatural wrestling venue. It's 5 peppers, explicitly spicy while still being tender. Book 1 is called Impromptu Match, but most recently, False Comeback. Boy, oh boy, these covers. There's something about these covers that just makes me go like, you know what? Hell yeah. Uh, Book 5, High Lord Crossbody. I've given up a lot to pursue a career in professional wrestling, and I'm not going to have it all derailed by an uncouth ghoul with a huge chip on his shoulder who decided he disliked me for no reason on his very first day at Goliath's. Vince Burke has been the thorn in my side for 5 long years, but things have taken a turn for the worse. Management is threatening to get involved. I refuse to let Burke take the life I've worked so hard to build for me, so I try to be on my best behavior at work. But something about him just gets to me. He consumes my thoughts. I can't stand him. When something happens between us that leaves me feeling completely unmoored, I find myself thinking about him constantly. He's taken all the control, and I need to get it back because I liked it too much. And I can't let myself feel that way about him. Vince Rolling Rimmer Burke, I love everything about my job as a professional wrestler at Goliaths of Wrestling, an underground supernatural wrestling organization. I love the showmanship, the costumes, the crowds, the ring, and the arena. My coworkers, well, except one, High Lord Crossbody. The Royal Fae, who's an actual prince, is a pompous snob and a pain in my backside. Everything about him rankles me. His clipped drawl, his disdainful sneer, his stupid long legs and eerily perfect face, and sultry hooded eyes. I hate everything about him. I do. So when our mutual dislike boils over in a very public argument, then explodes into something even hotter and completely inappropriate, I'm left confused and even more annoyed because now I want him and I hate that I want him. I love a description that's written from the POV of 2 characters, telling you exactly what's happening without telling you anything. So if you like tension, if you like, again, that kind of enemies to lovers, and if you're down for like some weird monster wrestling,
Here
might
for it.
be for you. You
Honestly,
know?
if you want to mix things up, you go
Yeah.
for the underground monster wrestling.
I know like paranormal, supernatural romance is such a thing, but I hadn't dipped my toes in. And so when I found this book and it was, like sports romance, and I was feeling the vibe, I was like, let's get weird. I'm finally gonna figure it. I'm gonna try it because I say none of that with any hate. I love that people are reading. I don't care what y'all are reading. Just be reading. And so something about the like, oh, this might not be for me, but I'm not yucking anyone's yum. Because, like, again, hell yeah.
Team that. Team that. And honestly, my thought is always like, who gets to be weird, right? Because like if you
Thank
read
you.
I don't know, a Game of Thrones book, some of these other
Right.
like why do they get to be weird? Is it just
Right.
because of the amount of sex? Like, I don't know.
But also, like, why is the weird sex stuff in Game of Thrones totally fine? Because it's like sci fi, air quotes for listeners only, for boys. Like,
Exactly.
I know they're for everyone, but like,
Right. And don't get me wrong. I'm like House of the
right.
Dragon, T minus how many days? It's fine.
Absolutely. Go for it.
But it's like the weird.
But why is that okay?
Why is that
Yeah.
okay? Why is that okay? I'm always here to
Mhm.
interrogate it. You know what I mean? Like,
I know. Let me shine my light in George R. Martin's face. Like, why do you get to do this? Why is it okay?
exact,
And I,
exactly.
I think he might crumple if we did that. So I
I
won't.
know, I
Because
know,
y'all want your next book. But
I know. Y'all gonna be waiting. I'm so sorry to report. I'm clearly
I'm
on the
sorry to report
sidelines like
y'all
everybody
stay
else.
waiting. Yeah.
Y'all will stay
Uh,
waiting for sure. Oh man. Okay. I've been like doing like this really fun eeny miny mo in my head because I had such a hard time. like, okay, of the books you've read, what are you gonna recommend? But I feel like since
mm,
we kind of went just now into like the paranormal sort of realm
yes.
and even fantasy realm, let's continue in that realm and
Please.
let's go with Die for Me by Shirlene Obobi. Now, first of all, let's talk about this cover. Let's get into it. I mean, I love the sensuality of it, and also the mystery because you're like, what is that? Like, I don't know. I don't know.
Ooh, I love that.
We'll have to find out. So,
I love the way that they're doing covers that like that anyone will pick up because we eat with our eyes, and I think that's the kind of cover that makes you go, I have no idea what this is about, but I would like to know more. And now all of a sudden you're interrogating a book that you might not normally have picked up.
no, you know what? You've sold it already. Just off the cover. Just off the cover.
And
Truly.
that's how I pick all my books.
We eat with our eyes. When I
Hmm.
saw this come up online, I said, it must be in my sphere. All right. And
Yes,
I'm like, I love a paranormal. Let's try it. So I have read this book, but I feel like I don't trust myself to talk about it without me being spoilery. So I also
fair.
will read the description here. So Sean's not in the market for love. The only female, let alone Black, interventional cardiologist at her hospital. She's watched too many of her male colleagues divorce their first wives to marry their younger models. And then there's the abusive relationship she spent the better part of her 30s healing from. Her passions are reserved for her best friend, her goddaughter, and her job. Then she meets Julian, brooding, beautiful, and 11 years her junior. In short, a bad idea. Julian pursues her in a way that sets off alarm bells in her mind, but she finds herself unable to resist their undeniable chemistry, even starts fantasizing about him in dreams that feel altogether too real. They also have a lot in common despite their age gap. So, to hell with it. If men can date younger, why can't she? But the more Sean gets to know him, the more impossible Julian seems. He has a depth and sorrow to him that's beyond his years, and sometimes there's a look in his eyes that's less than human and leaves her feeling more like prey. Plus, Sean herself has been exhibiting odd symptoms: memory lapses, a lack of restraint that's unlike her, persistent exhaustion that all trace back to Julian, making Sean feel more than a little afraid. Who or what is she falling irrevocably in love with? I absolutely am
Uh-huh.
obsessed with this book.
I love that. I love that that was also just like, this could just be shelved as like lit fic.
Yes.
Like, yeah, like if we didn't know where to, I mean, like take us 15 years back, this absolutely would have been shelved as lit fic because we wouldn't have known what to do with it. But like, I love that approach to the paranormal romance element. I
Yes.
love that.
Yes. Throughout that book, there's such a tension that you
Mm.
that you
Hmm.
just you're like, what is going on? If you're
Yeah.
someone who's like, I don't want to be able to predict. I love being surprised, feeling slightly stressed. This is the book for you at a solid 3. Some might say on a more conservative bed 4
Okay.
chili peppers.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that though. So like, if you are a romance reader like Destinee, take her 3 and run with it.
Yes.
But if you are dipping your toes in, maybe at like the loosey goosey end at half a pepper. And
Yes.
honestly, my peppers, who knows? Like, mine are peer reviewed peppers, and I still don't believe it. So,
Peer-reviewed peppers.
ooh,
Oh my gosh.
sometimes I even get myself.
You certainly got me, I'll tell you that.
Well, speaking of heated rivalry, I know
Mhm.
sports romance is hot, always been hot, stays being hot.
Yes.
Just wanted to like quick shout out the what is it? It's the Jacksonville Rays series by Emily Rath. The
Mhm.
the titles I think are incredible. Like book 4 is Pucking Strong. Like,
Mhm.
shut up. That's
Mhm.
that's gonna get me every time. Like, oh, okay. Love
You
that.
will have a lot of puck puns
If you
going
are
around.
looking for hockey, oh
Yes.
my god, because the other one I wanted to quick shout out was the Puck Boys series.
Yes. Yes.
We know what that play is. Book 1 is Egotistical Puck Boy. They're by Eden Finley and Saxon James. It's a 10-book series that just wrapped up in April of this year. So you got a lot to cover between those two. But instead of, kind of like diving into more hockey romance, I think the market is saturated. I wanted to, but I think both of those are like vaguely 3.5. I think the Jacksonville series is kind of like there's a lot of, especially in book 4, like fade to black moments. So I'm creeping my peppers down a little bit. So I think it's kind of like a 3 generally. And the Puck Boy series might skew a little
Yeah,
spicier.
I feel
Good
like
luck. Just those are like 4,
yeah,
4.5.
I feel like for the mortals, I keep putting
Yeah.
it that way. I like definitely
For the
spicier.
uninitiated, if you haven't
Yes.
drank from the romance chalice, they're, they're probably a little spicier. So yeah, if you want to go like a little lighter, the Jacksonville Rays. If you want to like a little spicier on the hockey front, the Puck Boys. But I wanted to bring a weird one because who am I if not a lover of weird books? Um, how about a choose your own adventure romance? That's like
I love
mid
that.
spice point. So this is Night at Vampire Castle by Hari Connor. The cover got me because incredible goth baddie, like gorgeous vamp in a chair and like nerdy twink. I'm here for it. But also a choose your own adventure. Why can't us adults have fun anymore? And so I'm so happy to share this one. It came out in September of last year, and it's a dark and stormy night. When your car breaks down in a remote forest, you must take refuge in an ominous castle looming on the hillside where a handsome, mysterious stranger invites you in. At dinner, you meet 3 vampires and embark on an evening of intrigue. Choose to charm a creature of the night, have a fling with a few, or escape their clutches and discover who else lurks in the castle. Stranded in rural Transylvania on a stormy night, you stumble upon an ominous castle where the mysterious inhabitants seem keen to have you for dinner. In Hari Connor's newest Choose Your Own Path book, the reader chooses between exploring the Gothic castle, partying with werewolves, or seducing one of the vampires into revealing their secrets. Get swept away from the 9 to 5 by a whirlwind romance or steamy encounters, if you can avoid meeting your end. With 3 main vampire romance paths and multiple endings, this story has fun, lighthearted elements, as well as Gothic themes, with choices to explore characters' pasts in real European and queer history. Spend a night at the Vampire Castle if you dare. I mean,
Ooh.
like, how fun.
I love a choose your own. Oh my gosh.
I love a choose your own adventure. And I love vampires. Like, I think I've learned over the years, I
You
just
just
love
like them.
vampires. I like them. My boyfriend and I are also still working our way through Buffy. It's my first time seeing Buffy. I know I was a Charmed and Sabrina kid, so I
Okay.
don't know how I missed Buffy, but also I know how I missed Buffy. It's fine.
Okay. 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 Okay.
So
Okay.
we're
That
we're
was like an
like
involuntary
we're
reaction, and
no, I get
I
it.
pulled it together.
We're like mere episodes away from Dark Willow. So
Ooh.
like the poor listeners that they're like, yes, it's time for him to tell us he's watching Buffy right now. Uh, but reset the counter. It's better than when I was talking about Twilight.
And it's your show. Do what you want.
Hey, they're not complaining yet, and we'll be by the time season 4 rolls around, we will have finished Buffy
There
and
you
maybe Angel too, if we do that.
go. Here for it. Here for the journey.
But yeah, so thank you for indulging me. I needed to share like a weird concept,
I
and just the concept being choose your own adventure. And I am such an audiobook head, so it was so nice to take a
mean,
break from that and just kind of be like, not just reading, but also be like, oh, well, now I'm jumping to this next thing. And yeah, I don't know. It was like a good self-care moment, honestly, because I had to be so intentional and take the time to sit down and enjoy like a hot journey.
yeah, like that is I think there's a historical one. I forget the name of it. That is a choose your own adventure as well. And I agree that the way in which you have to engage with it is, there's just a higher level of actual focus and engagement, and it's different.
Totally.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Audiobooks, don't get me started, Joe. We don't even have enough time. I love them so much. Ugh.
They're my favorite, and it is my like primary form of reading. So,
Mhm,
you know,
mhm.
audiobooks and graphic novels are my jam. So, taking a break to be like, oh, right, my eyeballs do the reading sometimes.
Occasionally, we'll have to talk about this at another time because I have
Please,
so many
please.
thoughts about audiobooks. Okay, this one is it will be out by the time this show comes out, but I always like just a solid, easy summer read. And I feel like there are
Yes.
so many people that do that well, but I do want to highlight
Mhm.
Alexa Martin by the Bootstraps for that.
Ooh, and
Um,
that's
if it's
gorgeous.
just like she hits the romance beats so well. It's
Mhm.
so satisfying, And there
Yeah.
are black cowboys. Like, come on.
Yeehaw. Sign me up. Honestly, I'm already ready.
Like, here we are. So,
Yeah.
about this book, which I rate probably again a solid 3, personally, but I feel like there are some people out there who might think more, on the pepper range. But fueled by a love of romance novels, so meta, guys.
We love.
We love Luna Star was destined for a life with her head in the clouds. Her delusional tendencies serve her well, or at least they used to. When life throws her a curveball, she decides it's time to turn her cowboy fantasies into reality and purchases a tiny farm in Celestial, Texas. After all, don't all heroines try to outrun grief? Tate Jacobs hates cowboys, which is a small problem considering his family happens to own the largest ranch in Celestial. Life might not have gone the way he wanted, but as head coach at his old high school and the town's best and only handyman, he's figured out how to stay busy and keep his head down. Until the new girl, our girl Luna, she shows up. Luna's new property is a bad accident waiting to happen unless someone helps her with her DIY home renos. As Tate and Luna spend more time together fixing up her house, unexpected feelings and undeniable chemistry bubble to the surface. Luna might have moved to Celestial to make her cowboy dreams come true, but somewhere beneath the vast Texas skies, she discovers that love is in the real world, can be far better than she ever imagined. Ugh, it's
Now,
uh,
incredible.
you know,
Incredible.
honestly, when you have the romance novel element and speaking of
Mhm.
audiobooks, I just listened to the audiobook as well
Yeah.
as an audiobook arc, and it
Ooh.
was so good. It just puts you there. But yeah, like you have someone who's obsessed with romance novels and like wants to live that in their life and uses that to avoid their problems. You have black cowboys. You have also a really messy intro because she meets Tate first and then also his brother. And it turns out that they are fraternal twins. I know. I know. I know.
Oh,
And then
okay.
she's like,
Also, I'm
"Ugh,
so sorry, but, maybe it's the charmed part of my brain, but, give me a hot handyman any day.
good old fixer up."
Give me a good old fixer-upper any day.
Yes.
"Oh, this is how you ended up in my home? Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Alright."
DIY, we say.
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
uh-huh.
Yes.
I
Yes.
love.
And she just leans into it so well. Total recommend. And it comes out at the end of May. So we're
Oh,
basically there.
perfect.
We're basically there. Yeah.
Oh, we're almost already there. My question to you, looking at that book, since you said she does the romance beat so well, not being like a trope reader, but do you love the expectedness and the maybe predictability of the
Mm.
genre? Do you love books that lean more into that than not?
Yeah,
Or is it
I think I am easy to please, right? Like
okay?
I
Yeah.
do what I love aside from the HEA, the happily ever after that must be
Yeah.
there for a romance novel.
Yes.
I I'm okay if it's less tropey. I'm okay. If the story you're telling is one that I believe in, I can believe in. I'm okay with that. But if you're gonna be tropey, do it well.
Absolutely, absolutely. So this just kind of speaks to that
Yes.
of we're
Yes.
playing it up hard, we're going camp.
We're
I love
going
that.
for the tropes. Homegirl, like we are having a western where she leaves everything behind. She chooses to go to a small town they're brothers. Like, it's just go for it.
Yes.
Go for it.
Like, fully go for it.
Yes.
Well, Destiny, I could talk to you all day. I think to wind us down, to let us all out into the world with romance recs in hand, let's do like a quick lightning round of some other books that we've got in mind. I just had 3 others I wanted to quick mention. If you are looking for cyberpunk mecha sci-fi, it's like their take on romantasy. It's like a sci-rom. It's cyberpunk mecha retelling of Hades and Persephone. Very spicy to some, but like not necessarily long in the spice. Just a lot of opportunities. It's a queer non-binary romance. It's called The Hades Calculus by Maria Ying. Incredible pick. Then I wanted to bring a YA option. So this is Time and Time. Yeah, I love YA. I'm such a YA reader. This is Time and Time Again by Chatham Greenfield. It's a YA speculative romance behind closed door spice. So the peppers are pretty low. But again, like young love, it's there. You should enjoy it. And then to wrap us up with, I believe, my like other 5 pepper pick, the Lost Boys series by Kelly Fox.
Oh, that's what we're doing, Joe?
I figured, book 1 is The Skeptic. It's a longer listen, but easy read with good pacing. The spice is there. Woo boy. The series starts with a skeptical priest. Book 2 is a queer awakening. Book 3 is a musician. And book 4 is the widow of a beloved teacher and coach. So if you want to, get into all that, hey.
I mean, you just said chili peppers. I love it.
I really said I'll give you like 2 like light options, but I'm gonna like drop the 6 pepper right at the end.
I honestly love it. Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, I'm gonna, you said YA, and I was like,
Yeah.
grab all the other stuff. I'm gonna talk about a YA book. So Rebel Heiress by Amelie Howard just came out. It's a historical romance novel featuring people of color, featuring disability rep, LGBTQ rep. There's a lot of rep going on in there. And it's just like
Yes.
so swoony. The banter is so cute. And just if you want a YA historical romance novel, that is it for you. I don't feel like there are a lot of them, So truly
Right.
recommend. So cute.
Oh, I love it.
Yes. We're not talking in terms of peppers. Heart
We're
XO.
not, no.
And it's fine. It's fine, but we love it still. I also want to throw out there Just a Highland Fling by Nina Kumar. You've got road trips. You've got the Scottish Highlands.
You had me at road trips.
Yeah.
But
you're like, I need nothing else. I need nothing
I'm
else.
like, good enough for me.
Yeah, and
Sold.
I said at the beginning, I'm a mess apologist. So many messy family dynamics here. You're just like, whoa, it's not my family, and I'm glad of that, but woo, I love reading about it. So it's just such a fun read. Probably like 2, to me, you can do with that what you will. A great read. And I don't have them in my hand right now, but you can see them all up on here on the side. And I will never leave anywhere without saying Nalini Singh. She's a paranormal romance author, been around for years, but her Psy Changeling series, beginning with the book Slave to Sensation, solid 3, probably 4 for some people. Incredible world building, but I recommend it because if you're like, my summer's starting, I need an epic series that will just keep me going. And I can just keep clicking borrow at Libby. Psy Changeling series is the thing for you.
Oh, I love the sound of that. But Destinee, thank you so much for sharing your recs with me today.
Oh, thank you for having me, Joe. I had so much fun, honestly.
Well, please come back. And friends, you can find all of Destinee's info in the show notes. Please consider following and subscribing to the show so you never miss an episode. We'll again be moving to our 3 episode per month schedule now until the end of September when we'll launch season 4. In the meantime, apply your sunscreen, read good books, and be safe. Happy reading!
Bye!
You can sample and borrow the books from today's episode in the Libby app, or if you're a librarian, find them for purchase in Overdrive Marketplace. Book Lounge by Libby is a proud Evergreen Podcast signature program. Explore more amazing shows at evergreenpodcasts.com. This podcast is produced and recorded by me, Joe Skelly, with editing by Andrew Alonso. Our theme music is High Five by Rex Banner, used with permission. Book Lounge by Libby is presented by the Libby app. Learn more at libbylife.com/booklounge.